Praise be Jesus Christ, and onward with Mary. A good and holy evening to the very large number of faithful present here tonight from various parts, not only from Palermo and Sicily at Little Nazareth, and welcome to all for this episode that we have called historic. We have this evening with us, August 5th, as many as 6 priests that I beg the director to show live. Here they are. We are 7 priests in all, and each of them will be speaking in a few minutes. In these days, we have experienced, here in Carini, in Little Nazareth, a symposium, a gathering of the Marian priestly sodality, and we have achieved goals, important goals, that now briefly I will make known to you. And then I will leave the floor to the dear confreres, who are from the little remnant, and who, precisely, are in communion with Pope Benedict XVI. I would invite those present and those who are following us from home to greet them with great affection. Thank you. Thank you, dear confreres, for your presence here. For a few days now, we have been together. We are really living a very beautiful experience of deep priestly communion, which we hope will push, I'm sure it will, other priests who are still undecided to come out and side with us. I would like to start with yours truly, if I may. They have tried in every way to stop me. I have recorded a series of attempts, no less criminal than one put to death. I refer, in recent years, beginning with the forced removal from my parish. The so-called Bishop of Palermo, on the very day he calls me, orders me to leave, the same day the parish, and then I refer to the fact that I was suspended a divinis, with a ban on preaching on social media. Then I was given 2 excommunications, which means 2 death sentences, as if one were guillotined and then the body is burned at the stake. But Father Minutella went ahead. I had said it, remember. Those of you who are among the first, I had said, take seriously. I had said to the enemies, my testimony because the Blessed Virgin sends me, and you will lose the battle. What is more important is that I announce that the Freemasons, so powerful, so strong, and yet so cowardly, because they do not expose themselves, they only let the powers they have act. They are nothing before the power of Mary. But they have gone ahead. They went ahead with the censorship, as we know, of the mass media. I don't exist, except being a #1 problem, because I speak clearly. They have gone on with persecution over the years on social media, at Rai, at Italia Uno, the hyenas, the journalists, to present me as a criminal of Italy. But always, every time, they asked, how is it possible for this Father Minutella to go on? I had told them, I will go on, and it will be a sign to you that this battle is by no means won on your part. And we went on. So they tried to isolate me. Cardinal Burke, with Monsignor Bux, invited me to Rome, asking me to go and ask Pope Francis for forgiveness. To my reply that I would never do that, never do that. Monsignor Bux wrote to me, you will be alone. And I said, better alone, with a good conscience, than in company with a sold-out conscience. And in the meantime, there has been an increase in the traditionalist world, not only in the Bergoglian world, of lividity towards Father Minutella. Monsignor Bux was the architect, together with some lay people, of a telephone campaign, subject by subject, to urge people not to follow Father Minutella, and finally thrown out of churches. Do you remember in ours? When the rector of the sanctuary prevented me from entering inside the church? Thrown out at Lourdes. Thrown out at Aparecida in Brazil. Also in Lanciano. Thrown out of churches. And yet, as if that were not enough, we witnessed criminal proceedings. I'm still defending myself with my lawyer in the face of some completely trivial legal charges, in my opinion, from which I'm trying to defend myself in every way. In one of these criminal proceedings, I am risking house arrest because, unfortunately for them, I still have a clean criminal record. And then slowly, the hatred of the una cum, one with, has increased. Who went through all this at once, dear children? Dear brethren, who? Perhaps you are seeing a hero speak? A hero? An alien? Or is it everything? Hidden in what I said at the beginning, when I said, Bergoglio, you are not the Pope. No one will tell you this because they are all afraid. Our Lady chose this little sheep-smelling priest from the fringes to shout to the world that you are not the Pope and that you are there, planted by Freemasonry to destroy the Church. The Pope remains Benedict XVI. I had to witness not only the persecution of the Bergoglians. I had no more title, no more name, called crazy, insane, possessed, out of my mind, but also the smear campaign of the una cum, and that is, those who, incredibly, persecute Pope Francis, hate him, pray for him to die, but go to Mass and communion with him. And Father Minutella has become, for them, in the past years, a real problem to deal with because he shouts the truth to them. And lately, the internal sectarianism that says that Father Minutella has finished his mission, that there is a small, scattered remnant that doesn't necessarily have to go with Father Minutella. We are here, my dear children, more motivated than ever. I was expecting an applause, but now I don't want it. No. I don't want it. I don't want it. You must know, I say to the father who comes from Germany, that the Sicilians, to get an applause, the 1,000 must come. If not, it takes Garibaldi. We Sicilians stand there listening to you, but never applaud. But it's not that tonight, in this historic episode, we are saying this just to say it. I would like them to believe me. I mean, my confreres, who I hope in the meantime will be framed despite themselves. I would like to say, I am more motivated than ever. I am just beginning my mission. What conclusion? We are just beginning. We will liberate Rome, the throne to the Pope, the throne to the Pope. We will succeed. We will succeed in giving the throne to the Pope. Go away, Satan. Go away, Bergoglio. Away with the Freemasons from the Church. We are more than motivated now, maybe even more than before. Let's say that what we have experienced, I say this to Bergoglio, hoping he doesn't turn pale, poor man, he already has so many personal problems. And I would like to say to Bergoglio, to Jorge Maria Bergoglio, we are just at the beginning, and what we have experienced, dear Pope Francis of Mercy, that you have reduced me to the lay state, not really understanding what you thought you were going to achieve. So many people are coming here. I don't know how to divide myself anymore. I'm getting invitations from Australia. I'm getting invitations from Africa. I'm getting invitations from Latin America, from Europe. I don't know. What did you think you were going to achieve? These were just the preliminaries. Now it's starting to get serious, and we'll see. Who is sending you, who are in the Vatican, and who is sending us? And I would like to hope, before I give the floor to my brother priests, that the priests who know the truth and are wavering, in light of the things that the fathers will say, this evening, the 6 priests gathered here in Little Nazareth for this priestly gathering. I hope that these brethren who still remain in the rectories hold up biting their consciences, because they know who the Pope is, but they do not have the courage to come out, may come out, and who knows that even a bishop, finally seeing a priestly college, may make up his mind. What have we been talking about these days? I say briefly, and then give them the floor, although briefly with Father Minutella doesn't work very well. But tonight it does, this evening it does. So we'll give you a couple of pointers. First of all, we have elected, by acclamation from among us, a priest who will be in charge, with a phone number that we will make known, of keeping in touch with priests all over the world. There are many who have called in the office so far, many from Latin America, many from Africa. Of course, I can't do everything myself, so we delegate tasks to each other. So I have the joy of informing the brother priests who want to finally get out of this false church and remain openly and clear in union with Pope Benedict XVI, that the coordinator for relations with priests around the world, the telephone number will be made known, has been elected Father 𝐥𝐵HART. We have, also by mutual agreement, decided to make ourselves present to the Pope. We will do it soon. How and which Pope, you decide. Then I also wanted to say, and a little irony is also good for us, no? Because I'm afraid that inside the Vatican corridors for the moment they are like this. I can imagine some Monsignor making this look. But didn't we reduce him to the lay state? What happened? They don't want to understand. I tell them, pack your bags and leave. They don't want to understand. Worse for them. So that we also agreed that we priests, stay very united with each other. It is a leitmotif that they also will highlight. They also have together, by mutual agreement, established, I anticipate it. They, someone in particular, will elaborate on it, that we say, since we need a guide, we need someone to coordinate the work together. They have chosen Father Minutella as the guide of this whole path of the little Catholic remnant. That's why we also thought in time to allow a couple of them, and in time, to collaborate with Father Enrico Bernasconi for the celebration of the Holy Mass. On the days, during every day on Radio Domina Nostra. And there will be born, I'm telling the priest this, a Marian priesthood chat, where the priest who, from time wish to join, on Mondays, every Monday, from 11 a.m. to noon, we priests, wherever we will be, someone from Austria, someone from Germany, someone from the Czech Republic, and who knows what others, there are several in Latin America, we will be able, every Monday from 11 a.m. to noon, to see each other, hear each other, and collaborate remotely to plan from time to time. Is it possible then that there are other small Catholic remnants? What do you say? Yes, it's possible. It's possible, because I'm referring here to the internal sectarians who went their own way with the puppets. No? And with the victimized souls? I'm very clear. I will be very clear. There can be paths. I told the fathers. They are all in agreement. Of course, I'm here making an extreme summary of the things we have been saying to each other these days. There can be such paths. However, if they are born, grow, and live to delegitimize Father Minutella, they are not paths pleasing to God. If they are collateral, if they are, as it were, also walking parallel, that is, with their own path, but without having to, let's say, disprove Father Minutella, then they are a small remnant. Otherwise, who knows what the heck they do? Because let's be clear. I told the fathers that we must be very united among ourselves. I don't rule out that the Masons will put infiltrators, even to try to divide us among ourselves. They tried this with Father Enrico. We all know this. When they contacted him on the account of Father Minutella, he has finished his mission. They were telling him he wants to rule you out. He wants to dominate you. Thank God Father Enrico is an intelligent and wise person. He understood the plot, so thank God he resisted, compared to someone else who, alas, instead gave in. Then let it be clear around the world, we must get busy. I will go around the world. With the fathers we have determined this, that I will go around Italy and around the world, and indeed I am announcing that between the end of August and the beginning of September, I will make it known, flanked by Brother Celestino. I will go around Italy. Then to him I will leave him. I heard a very nice exclamation from Brother Celestino. Then he, Brother Celestino, I will leave him here, and I will continue around the world. So hold me and hug me well, because from the end of August, who knows when, then we will see each other again. Since there's a little remnant scattered around the world, we agreed that it is important that we follow them. We want to hope very much that the scattered remnants around the world, in union with Pope Benedict XVI, will want to come alongside. Connected with us is an interpreter from Buenos Aires, who will then translate a summary in Spanish for all the dear faithful of the small Spanish-speaking Catholic remnant in Latin America. Well, I said the things I had to. It seems to me that Carmen appeared for a few moments. Here is Carmen. Praise Jesus Christ. Praise Jesus Christ, Father. We can't hear you. Here, now we can. Thank you for your cooperation. It is a pleasure and an honor and a blessing. Good, Carmen. I would ask you then to have the patience to summarize, from time to time writing, memorizing what we say, and at the end we'll give you the floor. Good. One more moment on Carmen, please. Carmen, do you prefer to intervene when each individual priest finishes or at the end? Whatever works best for you. Better would be when each individual priest finishes. All right. As soon as each individual priest finishes, we'll give you the floor. All right? Good. Also, I made a note of what you have said so far. Please, say it for now for your Spanish-speaking friends.
El padre comunica que está sucediendo un suceso extraordinario porque los sacerdotes que se ven junto a él han estado reunidos hace algunos días realizando en un sodalicio sacerdotal mariano un control de lo que cada uno desea y han fijado ciertos objetivos, porque desea saludar a todos los del pequeño resto, pero hay muchos otros que están comunicándose de manera permanente desde otras partes del mundo. El encuentro que han tenido estos sacerdotes es una experiencia extraordinaria y este es un valor para el padre Minutella, que ha debido sufrir tanta persecución desde el comienzo de su valentía al manifestar la verdad en todo momento. Él fue citado por el obispo de Palermo para decirle que al día siguiente debía dejar la iglesia, su parroquia, fue suspendido a Divini, luego padeció 2 excomuniones, pero todo esto, ¿cómo se puede considerar que ha sido afrontado y superado si no fuera por el poder de la Virgen, que es la que le ha dado la fuerza para que un sacerdote humilde de una ciudad lejana pudiera sostenerse en esta misión? Estamos decididos a continuar y a mí me pidieron en cierto momento que me pusiera a pedir perdón a Francisco, que me fuera a Roma, pero eso jamás lo haría. Y luego trataron de aislarme, de dejarme solo, pero fíjense que ha sucedido en realidad todo lo contrario. Me expulsaron cuando quise entrar en santuarios como en Ars, en Lourdes, en Aparecida, en Lanciano, y sin embargo estos sacerdotes ahora me están acompañando. También contra mí estuvieron criticando y considerando absurdas mis posiciones los sacerdotes del UNACUM. Pero yo le dije algo a Bergoglio que nadie tuvo el coraje de decirle así tan claramente: tú no eres el Papa. nosotros nos hemos reunido para desarrollar una actividad que necesita un orden y por eso estamos más motivados que nunca. Vamos a liberar el trono del Papa si Dios nos ayuda y para eso tenemos que hacer un trabajo que significa ocuparse de los grupos del resto fiel que están llamando desde Australia, desde África, desde América Latina. No puedo yo solo hacer todo ese trabajo. Hemos dividido las actividades y se ha nombrado al padre 𝐥'𝐿 para que se ocupe de atender por teléfono a los sacerdotes que llaman para pedir contacto desde distintas partes del mundo y como guía de este grupo también se han puesto de acuerdo que debe ser el padre Minutella. Debemos también, hay ciertos sacerdotes que van a cooperar con la celebración de la misa que actualmente solamente desarrolla el padre Enrico Bernasconi. Bueno, eso es por ahora, padre.
Buenísima traducción, Carmen. Felicidad.
Very good translation, Carmen. Congratulations. Here. So, now we finally give the floor to the first of the six priests. Of the six priests here. Each one of them will speak. And I think it's Father Pavel's turn. The priest will now introduce himself. Each of them will introduce himself, and after Carmen does the Spanish language translation for those who are following us from Latin America, I would also like to say that both Father Pavel and the two other non-Italian priests will also speak in their language, he in Czech, and the other two fathers in a little bit of German. Praise be Jesus Christ, always be praised. I will be brief. If that doesn't work with Father Alexander, it will definitely work with me. That way I will also give Carmen a hand. Well, my name is Father Pavel 𝐶. In Czech it means stork, the one who brings babies. Last year, I belonged to the Diocese of Olomouc. I was pastor of a town near Brno, the town of Prostějov. I was also director of the religious house because I am Salesian. I was ordained a priest on April 29, 1995. It was the feast of St. Catherine. I was ordained because St. Catherine is a patron saint of Italy. I was ordained in Italy, in Loreto, by the governor of the Vatican State, Archbishop and Cardinal Castellara, a Salesian from Venezuela. Well, you probably want to know specifically why I am here, in Little Nazareth, in Carini. I came here among you from Sicily to give testimony of my clear and definite conviction with respect to the Catholic Church, and especially with respect to the Pope. Because for me, according to the law of the Church, and according to the statement of Pope Benedict XVI, the true legitimate Pope for me is Benedict XVI. This attitude of mine out of conviction, however, has matured over a long time of about 2 years, with prayer, with research of facts and information, also with effort, because at first I was a little shocked when I started to find out what was happening in the Vatican. Because from us, in the Czech Republic, we're over the Alps. The news doesn't come. You also must know languages, Italian, Czech, French, German. I drew from different sources. One of the most used sources was Father Alexander's catechesis. Because when they took away the rectory, my parish, and my salary, etc., last year, I had to work for 6 months in a repair shop in Prague. And so, taking advantage of the time while doing mechanical and manual work, I listened to his catechesis for 5 or 6 months. What struck me in his homilies was this fact. Never did I hear in his homilies a dogmatic error. Never. And that helped me so much. And his discourse was always logical. It was consistent. I, in my research, then also in convincing myself that Pope Benedict XVI is the true legitimate Pope, I was guided by 3 attitudes. The attitude of sincerity. I'm a simple priest. However, I wanted to be sincere, and I did not want to betray my conscience. Then, I wanted to seek the truth. I love the truth, because I know that the truth will make us free. The third attitude I always had in mind. I sought the salvation of souls. I told my superiors, look, I don't do politics. I don't seek favors. For me, as a priest and also as a Salesian, the most important thing is the salvation of souls. Either you go to heaven or you go to hell. You know that Don Bosco wrote a maxim for his life. Da mihi animas, etc. tolle. Give me souls. He asked God, and everything else you can take. And then that helped me so much. Well, I always go on like this with my attitude, with the laity and the priests who are in union with Pope Benedict XVI. It seems important to me when there is a group, when there are priests, that one presents himself as the guide, as a coordinator. That is important because otherwise everyone goes his own way. I am happy that Father Alexander is the guide for the Catholic Little Remnant, because it is my belief that he has received this charism from God. And then for one moment, I will greet the little Catholic remnant in the Czech Republic in my native language. Praise be Jesus Christ, always be praised. Now we give the space to Carmen, live from Buenos Aires, to translate for Latin America.
Bien. El exponente ha sido el padre Don Padel, que explica que su nombre, traducido, es la palabra cigüeña, la que traía a los niños. Él saluda y dice que el año pasado fue realmente quitado de su parroquia y se le suspendieron las entradas. Él fue director de la Casa Salesiana, pertenece a la Orden Salesiana, fue ordenado sacerdote en Italia el 29 de abril de 1995, día de Santa Catalina de Siena, por un obispo de Venezuela, que era cardenal y arzobispo. Quiere dar a conocer por qué se encuentra aquí. Él ha venido a Sicilia para dar testimonio de su convicción de lo que cree respecto a la Iglesia Católica y al Papa verdadero, porque conoce quién debe ser, que es muy importante saber quién es el Papa legítimo, y que él considera que el Papa legítimo es Benedicto XVI. Esta opinión fue madurada durante mucho tiempo porque dice que en un primer momento estaba demasiado asombrado, molesto con la situación que estaba desarrollándose, y verdaderamente en donde él vive, en la República Checa, no es fácil conseguir buenas noticias, tampoco sabía el italiano como para directamente escuchar, y todo esto le costó formar su opinión sinceramente. La fuente de su información fueron las catequesis del padre Alejandro, porque al haber salido de la parroquia tuvo que trabajar en distintos trabajos en Praga, y mientras hacía trabajos manuales escuchaba los videos del padre Minutela. Lo que desea dejar bien claro es que nunca en todas las catequesis encontró que el padre Minutela hiciera un error dogmático, y que también se dio cuenta que su discurso era absolutamente coherente, porque el padre Don Padel dice que para él son importantes tres cosas: la sinceridad, porque no quiere traicionar ni a su iglesia ni a Jesucristo; la verdad, porque tiene muy bien aprendido que la palabra de Jesucristo dice: la verdad os hará libres; y la tercera importante en realidad que le interesa es la salvación de las almas, porque él manifiesta que no es político, pero como sacerdote le importa la salvación de las almas, que Don Bosco le daba tanta importancia a ellos, y escuchó decir al Padre Celestial que si él le daba almas, todo el resto le sería entregado. Por lo tanto, le importa que se afirme la opinión en los sacerdotes de que Benedicto XVI es el verdadero Papa actualmente, y por supuesto es importante que exista una guía que conduzca a los que van dándose cuenta de esto, y que le parece importantísimo que el padre Minutela en realidad tiene el carisma para desarrollar esta actividad de ser el guía de los sacerdotes del pequeño rey. Bien.
Gracias, Carmen. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Carmen. Thank you very much. And now we give the floor to the second of the six priests here, Father Johannes. Praise be to Jesus Christ. My name is Johannes Lerner, and I belong to the Diocese of Eisenstadt, near Vienna, in Austria. I was ordained on June 29th, 1983, by Bishop Stefan Laszlo. One moment, Father. May I ask the director if we are always still live? Okay. Excuse me, Father. Please. I want to speak in German to reach some German-speaking priests as well.
Christus imperat. Christus ist Sieger, Christus ist König, Christus ist Herr. Dieser Ruf möge uns heute ermutigen in einer Zeit der Verwirrung, Dieser Ruf erinnert mich aber auch an die Kirche, die eine ist, die heilig, die katholisch und apostolisch ist. Es ist ein Ruf, der mich deshalb auch an das sichtbare Haupt der Kirche erinnert, an den Papst, dessen Aufgabe es ist, die Brüder, besonders auch uns Priester im Glauben zu stärken. Du aber, wenn du umgekehrt bist, stärke deine Brüder. So sagte Jesus zu Petrus. Und so spricht er auch heute zu dessen Nachfolger, zu Papst Benedikt. Ich bin Priester seit 39 Jahren. Ich habe schon vor etwa 30 Jahren Josef Ratzinger begegnet. Er war damals Präfekt der Glaubenskongregation und ich hatte eine persönliche Begegnung mit ihm. Damals bewegte mich die Frage, wie Jesus das letzte Abendmahl mit den Aposteln gefeiert hat, come Gesù celebrato l'ultima cena con gli apostoli.
As Jesus celebrated the Last Supper with the apostles, there were also women there.
Und so habe ich ihm diese Frage gestellt und er hat mir eine Antwort gegeben, die mir geholfen hat, die mich bestärkt hat. Im Priesterjahr, am Ende des Priesterjahres 2009, 2010, c'era l'anno sacerdotale nel 2010.
There was the priestly year 2010.
Es war das Herz-Jesu-Fest, wo Papst Benedikt zu vielen Priestern, die gekommen waren, gesprochen hat und sie bestärkt hat im Glauben. Er hat auch seinen Schmerz darüber zum Ausdruck gebracht, dass es durch Priester Missbrauch gegeben hat. Und er sagte damals in der Predigt, Gott bedient sich eines armseligen Menschen, um durch ihn für die Menschen da zu sein und zu handeln. Diese Kühnheit Gottes, der sich Menschen anvertraut, Menschen zutraut, für ihn zu handeln und da zu sein, obwohl er unsere Schwächen kennt. Noi tutti sacerdoti siamo come voi, abbiamo i nostri
We all priests are like you.
anche
We have our faults and also sins. So, however,
noi.
God acts through us.
Das ist das wirklich Große. Questo è il veramente grande
This is the really big thing
che si nasconde dietro del sacerdozio.
that is
Was sich
behind the
hinter dem
priesthood.
Priestertum verbirgt. Nicht ganz 3 Jahre später hat sich Benedikt zurückgezogen. Was hat ihn dazu bewegt, diesen Schritt zu tun? Heute, nach 9 Jahren, bin ich davon überzeugt, dass Benedikt einen Schritt tat, nach Kanon 412, secondo il canone 400,
According to Canon 412,
dass in die kanonische Situation des behinderten Bischofsstuhles sich begeben hat, da er nicht auf den Munus, sprich auf das Amt verzichtet hat, sondern auf das Ministerium, auf die äußere Ausübung dieses Amtes, das heißt auf den Dienst. Damit war auch das Konklave von 2013 ungültig. Per questo anche il conclave del 2013 era
that's why the
invalido.
2013 conclave was also invalid.
Und Kardinal Bergoglio hat sich ungerechtfertigterweise des Stuhles Petri bemächtigt. Folglich ist sein bischöfliches Handeln auch nicht vom Beistand des Heiligen Geistes begleitet. Per questo lui non ha il sostegno dello Spirito Santo.
That's why he doesn't have the support of the Holy Spirit.
Paul sagte schon im Jahre 1976, als er noch nicht Papst war, wir stehen vor der größten Schlacht, die die Menschheit je gesehen hat. Ich denke nicht, dass die Gemeinschaft der Christen dies vollends begriffen hat. Wir stehen heute vor dem Endkampf zwischen der Kirche und der Antikirche, zwischen dem Evangelium und dem Anti-Evangelium. Giovanni Paolo II già nel 2 anni prima
John Paul II, already 2 years before his pontificate, was talking about the church and the anti-church, the gospel and the anti-gospel.
Das gilt es zu begreifen. Das erfordert auch eine klare Entscheidung, da wir, wie Johannes Paul im Jahre 1980 in Köln gesagt hat, wir können nicht auf Probe leben, non possiamo vivere solo, come si dice, alla prova. Wir können nicht auf Probe lieben, wir können nicht auf Probe sterben. Non possiamo provare, morire.
We can't try to die. We either die or we don't.
Und diese Entscheidung habe ich für mich getroffen. Alfine, qualche parole in italiano di più.
At the end, a few more words in Italian.
Da circa 6 anni,
For about 6 years,
con il pontificato di un papa chiamato
I have felt that, with the pontificate of a pope named Francis, something wasn't right.
Ho ricevuto, con la grazia dello Spirito
I received,
Santo,
with the grace of the Holy Spirit,
conoscenza
the knowledge
che Benedetto XVI
that Benedict
ancora è il vero
XVI
Papa,
is still the true pope,
il Papa con cui rimane
the pope with
la
whom
Chiesa Cattolica.
the Catholic Church remains.
Questa conoscenza e poi la mia
This knowledge,
decisione
and then my decision,
comunicata al vescovo
I communicated to the bishop of my diocese,
dove vivo qualche mese fa.
where I lived a few months ago.
E so che questa decisione porta con sé delle
And I know that this
conseguenze,
decision brings
però
consequences with it.
confido che il
However,
Signore Gesù mi aiuta e che Egli prepara
I
la
trust that the
strada
Lord
mia.
Jesus helps me and that He prepares the way for me.
Vince,
It is
che
He who
deve
wins,
regnare nella mia vita,
who must reign in my life,
che imparerà non solo nella mia,
and who will reign not only in my life,
ma anche in tutto il mondo. Sia lodato
but also in the whole world. Praise be Jesus Christ.
Carmen, da Buenos Aires.
Carmen from Buenos Aires.
Padre, yo puedo traducir solamente lo que pude
Father, I will say what I could understand
porque no sé alemán.
because I don't speak German.
Claro, en
Lamentablemente.
italiano.
Sure, from the Italian.
Señor, este sacerdote ha dicho, Padre Johannes, que ha nacido en Eisenstadt, cerca de Viena, y que fue ordenado sacerdote el 29 de junio de 1983 por el obispo Stefan, que Cristo vence, Cristo reina, Cristo impera. Después otros detalles, ha dicho que el cónclave de 2013 es un cónclave inválido y que por lo tanto el Papa Francisco, llamado así, no puede tener el auxilio del Espíritu Santo, que él estuvo reflexionando sobre eso, teniendo en cuenta que antes de hacer la declaración ya el Papa ponía de palabras, ponía de manifiesto en las realidades de que existía una iglesia verdadera y una anti-iglesia, un evangelio verdadero y un anti-evangelio. Desde hace 6 años, ya siente que esto es un papa falso y entonces recibió la gracia de darse cuenta de eso y que el verdadero papa de la Iglesia Católica continúa siendo Benedicto XVI y debido a la decisión ha comunicado su manera de ver al obispo y por eso no sabe las consecuencias. Hace unos meses lo comunicó a su obispo. No sabe qué consecuencias le puede traer, pero confía en que el Señor Jesús le prepara su camino, que reina en su vida, acomodará sus realidades a lo que Él le sea conveniente. Espera que Cristo reina en su vida y en todas partes.
Thank you very much, Carmen from Buenos Aires, for the translation in Spanish. Now it's the turn of a very well-known face of Italian 𝐥'Zingarian television. I'm talking about our dear Father Enrico. Praise be Jesus Christ, always be praised. I am Father Enrico. Many of you know me. However, also many do not know me yet, especially in foreign countries. I am Father Enrico Bernasconi, and I was ordained no less than in 2016, in the middle of the Bergoglian era, in October 2016, October 30th, in the Diocese of San Severo, in the province of Foggia, by the Carmelite Bishop Monsignor Lucio Angelo Maria Renna, who then immediately retired. I was the last to be ordained by him, and my career in the false church was short-lived. I was 3.5 years. I think I'm the only priest in the world ordained during the Bergoglian years, who then made the decision to leave the false church. So for me, this is a sign, a miracle. First and foremost, a miracle, because the Lord, until 2016, didn't make me understand anything. I didn't understand anything about what was happening. And then, subsequently, once I was ordained a priest, I began to come to terms with what, instead, was reality. And the meeting with Father Alexander was decisive, certainly, and I thank the Lord for introducing me to him, for his catechesis, for his example, and because he put in my heart the same desire for freedom that I was already cultivating. But finding in him an example, I had the courage then too to make my own path and to take a decisive stand, precisely because of an appeal that Father Alexander made to the priests. A heartfelt appeal to get out of the false church, for all those reasons we know, because we certainly can't go against our conscience. And so, I too humbly this evening would like to make an appeal to the brethren who are listening, because as the Lord says, only the truth can make us truly free. And so, many brethren who feel the same thing in their hearts, seeing certainly other brethren who expose themselves, who put their faces to it, will certainly find the courage to make important decisions, make decisive choices, and to have the courage, above all, of the truth. I can testify that, of course, you have to take a path, a journey. Maybe from one day to the next you can't make decisions. If we seek the truth, then we then find the truth. And so then you have to have the courage to tell the truth, the courage to put your face on it, and the courage to expose yourself. For this we are paying. So I too am excommunicated from the false church, but this is by God's will. This is by divine permission, precisely because the Lord really wants to distinguish those who are in the truth from those who prefer the lie, those who prefer the error. So the Lord sets us aside because we no longer have anything to do with a false church, and we don't compromise. We don't make strange alliances. I can testify that in my own journey, recently, before I left the parish, the choice to celebrate Mass in union with Pope Benedict was growing. However, I was still celebrating in union with Pope Francis. So there was a fight. There was an inner fight. But since then, I made the decision to celebrate in union with Pope Benedict. That's when all the bonds of falsehood were broken, all the fears, and I felt stronger. And as I celebrated in union with Pope Benedict, I felt stronger and stronger, and I was no longer afraid to tell the truth. And so many confreres are still in fear. They are still in that stage of combat, and they don't have the courage to break those bonds of lies. And so my wish is that seeing a group of priests I think we're back live. The numbers were too worrisome for our enemies. You have to understand them. Here, right at the crucial moment, the line dropped. I was saying, to those in the little remnant, what is the difference between those in our little remnant and the other little remnants scattered around the world? That our little remnant is willed by heaven, and therefore I recognize in Father Alexander God's plan. So the Lord called him first to constitute the true Latin remnant, little remnant, to gather the true little remnant. That I've always said this in my homily, so I was saying, for those who know me, that this is my thinking against all those who instead tell us that we are mind-controlled. And so it would be mind-controlled by Father Alexander and all of you together. We would be all mind-controlled, but tonight, seeing 7 priests all united, I think they will have a hard time saying that we are mind-controlled. We simply recognize a charism. That is a gift from God. And therefore, a little remnant without Father Alexander cannot exist. Because the Lord wanted it that way, and we cannot go against what is the Lord's will. There, I have finished, and I leave the space for the brethren. Praise be Jesus Christ, always be praised. Buenos Aires, Buenos Aires, Carmen.
Buenos Aires. Eccoci, Carmen.
Maybe there's some connection problem with Buenos Aires. Carmen.
Carmen.
¿No me escucha?
Can you hear me?
¿Escucha bien ahora?
Bueno.
Don Enrico es el joven sacerdote que acaba de hablar, que muchos conocemos cuando escuchamos las misas de Radio Domina Nostra. El padre cuenta que fue ordenado el 30 de octubre de 2016 por el obispo carmelitano en San Severo. Él cuenta que en primero, cuando estaba en el seminario, no había percibido esta cuestión problemática sobre el papado, pero luego empezó a darse cuenta de que las cosas estaban sucediendo, eran absolutamente diversas de lo que él había visto hasta entonces. Y por ello, el encuentro con el padre don Alessandro, a los 3 años y medio de haberse ordenado, fue decisivo porque le aclaró que todo lo que él dudaba, sentía, era realmente, verdaderamente una situación anómala y que debía dejar esa iglesia que era ya una falsa iglesia, y tuvo el llamado concreto a dejar la falsa iglesia para estar celebrando con Benedicto XVI, porque él en un comienzo celebraba con el Papa Francisco, pero él no se sentía bien, tenía un combate interior que fue superado completamente después, cuando empezó a celebrar con Benedicto XVI, sintió que estaba en la verdad, porque la verdad hace libres. El coraje de vivir todo esto, de exponerse, de estar completamente expuesto frente a los demás, resulta algo que en un principio es peligroso, resulta peligroso, parece peligroso, pero verdaderamente el peligro es no hacerlo, porque una vez hecho se siente una fortaleza, una claridad y una alegría. Esta diferencia que he sentido personalmente es una experiencia porque la he pasado personalmente, y por ello invita a otros sacerdotes a que se animen a cortar los vínculos con la falsa iglesia para estar en el verdadero pequeño resto. El padre opina que el Señor ha llamado al padre Minutela, a don Alessandro, y le ha dado el carisma de ser el guía del verdadero remanente fiel, del verdadero resto fiel, y que por eso hay una diferencia entre los que se encuentran bajo la guía de Minutela y los que no están, debido a que don Minutela tiene este carisma y él así lo ha sentido. Muy bien.
Gracias, Carmen, por la
Thank you, Carmen,
traduzione in lingua spagnola.
for the translation into Spanish. Now we give the floor to the fourth participant, to Fra Celestino.
Sia lodato Gesù Cristo.
Praise be Jesus Christ.
Mi chiamo Fra Celestino, questo è il
My name
nome
is Fra
d'arte al
Celestino.
secolo
That's my stage name.
nato il 4/2/62, Santo Stefano di
Born
Valdoviate,
4/2/1962
Treviso, diocesi di Padova.
in Santo Stefano
Attualmente
di Valdoviate,
sono in diocesi
province of
di
Treviso,
Sono
Diocese of
stato
Padua.
ordinato sacerdote il 6 giugno del
I'm currently in the
93
Diocese of
all'allora
Patti.
vescovo
I was
di
ordained a
Padova,
priest on June 6, 1993, by then Bishop of Padua, Monsignor Antonio Mattiazzo, who should be in Ethiopia serving as a missionary. I'm a Franciscan hermit. I am the last survivor of my order in the whole world. It would be long to explain. I was with Brother Humble until a year ago. He died on July 7th, 2021. Brother Humble also said one night, let's hope this Pope dies soon. I did not like Bergoglio from day one. After a few years, I began to celebrate with a mental reservation. The phrase that St. Thomas advises saying when confronted with a heretical Pope. Since the Pope cannot be judged by anyone, there's nothing left but this. May God enlighten him or get him out of the way. In January of this year, I had a confrontation with Father Alexander, whom I already knew from before. I had read his book 2 or 3 times. Actually, I read a mystic who I won't name because many people don't like him. But back in 2012, he was already talking about the successor of Benedict XVI as a false prophet. And one thing that struck me most is when he said, he will ridicule my co-belief. And one of the last catecheses I read by Bergoglio is just when he said, Our Lady is not co-redemptrix. The other popes have said it. He doesn't say it. Who is right? I was telling Father Minutella, to wait for more of Bergoglio's mistakes to make up my mind. And he said, but hasn't he made enough already? And also I wanted, before me, bishops and cardinals to move. I saw that no one was moving. Hopefully, after tonight, some bishops and cardinals will come out. Then, on February 2nd of this year, towards the end of a second novena, in order to be enlightened, I decided to no longer celebrate in communion with Bergoglio, and so I took a weight off my conscience. I announced the fact to my bishop, to whom I wrote 10 letters, I think in all, and also to 3 other bishops, Bruno Forte, who was my teacher in his time, Cardinal Bassetti, to whom I said he will give an account to God, and to the Bishop of Padua, Claudio Cipolla. Then I ran out of stamps and never wrote to other bishops again. Restrictions came to me. I can no longer celebrate in the parish, hear confessions in the parish, go to the sick. I collaborate with Little Nazareth for masses and confessions, and I travel around Italy, confessing those faithful who do not want to confess with Bergoglian priests. I try to convince everyone that Bergoglio is a false pope, put there by worldwide Freemasonry. As for the future, I hope for a quick triumph of Mary's Immaculate Heart, and thus the end of the schism. Although I know that years of tribulation await us, possible excommunications, which have not yet come to me, so the gold medal that Father Enrico speaks of I do not have, do not frighten me. Amicus, amicus veritas. A somewhat loose translation. Truth is more a friend than friends. Praise be to Jesus Christ. Buenos Aires, Carmen. Yes, Father. I wanted to know if you can hear me well. Yes, because I did not hear everything. Yes, we hear you fine, Carmen.
Nació el 4 de febrero de 1922 en Treviso, en Padua. Fue ordenado el 6 de junio del año 93. Es un eremita franciscano. Él dice que es el último sobreviviente del grupo de él, de su orden. Y el 7 de julio de 2021, no entendí bien, no pude escuchar porque en ese momento entró un llamado acá. Parece que es el momento en que él se ha desprendido de donde se encontraba antes. Desde el primer día, él se dio cuenta que Bergoglio no estaba bien y en realidad ha estado celebrando con una reserva, de acuerdo a lo que él enunciaba, lo que decía Santo Tomás, de que ilumine a ese individuo y o lo quite del medio. Una vez escuchó a una persona que decía que él era un falso profeta, y realmente cuando escuchó que Francesco, el no papa, decía que la Virgen no era corredentora, se dio cuenta de que estaba frente a la mentira. Él ahora se dedica a confesar y está disponible para confesar a las personas que no quieran confesarse con los sacerdotes que pertenecen a la obediencia de Bergoglio. Eso es, Padre.
Gracias, Carmen.
Thank you, Carmen. Thank you for the translation in Spanish. Now there is the penultimate of the speeches. Let's give the floor to Don Natale. Praise be Jesus Christ, always be praised. So you already know my name. My name is Father Natale, Christmas, even at Easter. I belong to the Diocese of Macerata, ordained a priest on August 10th, 1968, by Bishop Casullo Silvio. There would be so many things to tell about my story with Francis, but let's leave that aside. I gave myself this explanation because in front of bishops, cardinals, priests, friars, and nuns who stand open-mouthed before Francis, I understood that he's not the real Pope. And the explanation I gave myself was by referring to Padre Pio, to Saint Pio, because if I'm a priest, I owe to Saint Pio. So he cooperated in opening my eyes, and I'm happy about that. I'm sorry that so many friends to whom I send Father Minutella's videos don't want to hear about it, and I often feel a bit marginalized. But okay, you do what you can. I also go to celebrate masses, especially in Upper Italy, in Bologna, etc. And the Lord is calling me. Okay, here, the bishop took away my parish, and for me it was an advantage, because otherwise, if I had the parish, I certainly could neither come to Little Nazareth, nor go to celebrate in Gorizia, or I don't know, to other parts, in Bologna. And so I thank the Lord that He opened to me a wider parish than I had before. I thank the Lord that He brought me together with Father Minutella, with whom we talk a lot. And I wish him well as he continues to lead the little remnant and guide it with the usual wisdom, but above all with his hands, the direction of Mary, the Generaless. I have finished. Carmen, Buenos Aires. Yes, Father, okay.
Ha sido ordenado sacerdote en agosto de 1968. Él recibió una ayuda importantísima de San Pío, del padre San Pío de Pietrelcina, para poder darse cuenta de lo que sucedía en la iglesia. De todas maneras, él envía los videos de DELLA a muchos amigos que no quieren ni sentir hablar de eso. Se siente marginado, pero está celebrando al norte de Italia y en otras partes porque el obispo le expulsó de su parroquia. Esta expulsión de la parroquia es considerada por este sacerdote como una bendición porque ahora tiene una parroquia mucho más amplia y le permite moverse y ayudar a los que necesitan este tipo de ayuda, y esto le ha permitido asistir a esta reunión en la Piccola Nazareth. Está muy agradecido también a Don Minutella por ejercer esta dirección, esta guía de los sacerdotes que van sintiendo esta verdad como mandatoria en sus vidas y no calculan para nada cuáles son las consecuencias que van a sufrir, porque en realidad lo más importante es estar en la verdad.
Muchas gracias, Carmen.
Thank you very much, Carmen. And now we have the last participant, which is out of Father 𝐤'𝐵𝐻. Praise be Jesus Christ, always be praised. I will speak a little in German. My name is Father 𝐤'𝐵𝐻 Joseph. I belong to the Diocese of Vienna, although I am German.
Den heiligen Engel geweiht seit 1975 und habe die Mutter Gabriele Bitterlich, 3 Jahre gekannt. Sie hat mir für mein Leben sehr viele Weisungen gegeben, auch für mein Priestertum. Appartengo alla opera degli angeli, conosco.
I belong to the work of angels. I've been consecrated to the angels since the year 75. I met Mother Gabriela, the founder of the work of angels, and she gave me so many teachings for my life.
Dann bin ich zum Priester geweiht. Eigentlich hätte verhindert werden sollen, dass ich zum Priester geweiht werde durch mein Leben, durch auch, dass ich immer wieder den Mund nicht gehalten habe. Und so haben sie mir dann in der Kongregation gesagt, wenn ich vom Johannes Paul II. Zum Priester geweiht werden kann, dann darf ich geweiht werden. Und so bin ich also tatsächlich durch ein einzigartiges Wunder am 6. Juni 1982 im Petersdom zu Rom vom Johannes Paul II. Zum Priester geweiht worden. Dall'inizio già erano ostacoli per farmi sacerdote.
From the beginning, there were already obstacles to make me a priest, and everybody fought me. And they said, even in the work of angels, if you can be ordained by John Paul II, you can become a priest. And by a miracle, really, on the 6th of June 1982, I was ordained in St. Peter's in Rome by John Paul II. So that's for my ordination. And then I live now in, that means where Pope Benedict grew up. I'm close to his house, and I'm just, his relatives used to go to confession. I know the family very well. And the shrine, the main shrine in Germany, still breathes the air of Pope Benedict. So, I have to say a little bit in German. First the way and then how I got here.
In den Jahren nach der Wahl von Papst Franziskus, als nicht Papst ist, in den ersten Jahren habe ich als Priester in der Diözese Wien mitgemacht wie alle anderen und habe dann immer wieder meine Zweifel bekommen. Bis zum Jahre 2015 habe ich also anstandslos immer in Einheit mit dem Papst Franziskus die Heilige Messe gefeiert und habe dann vorsichtshalber immer noch unseren Papst Emeritus Benedikt genannt, bis ich dann immer ein schlechteres Gewissen gehabt habe. Stimmt nicht. Das kann, irgendetwas stimmt nicht. Und so habe ich meine Zweifel bekommen. Zuerst habe ich gedacht, es ist in mir selbst, dass ich irgendeinen Fehler habe, irgendeine Sünde begangen habe, dass ich mich nicht mehr wohlfühle, wenn ich die Heilige Messe feiere in Einheit mit Papst Franziskus. Aber dann habe ich zufällig in YouTube irgendwo ein Video gesehen vom Don Minutella, der gerade irgendwo exkommuniziert worden ist und seine Pfarrei verlassen hat. Und dann habe ich mir gedacht, ja, genau so fühle ich es auch. Wie er es fühlt, genau so fühle ich es auch. Und dann habe ich in mir weiter gerungen und habe von da an auch nicht mehr in Einheit mit Papst Franziskus. Dann die Katechesen von Don Minutella zu hören. Das ist eine Zeit lang gegangen und mir ist immer klarer geworden, die Wahrheit, die er predigt, die Klarheit, die er in seinen Katechesen zum Ausdruck bringt, die Begeisterung auch für den Glauben. In mir ist nicht nur der Glaube wieder lebendig geworden und vor allem auch das Priestertum. Er hat mein Priestertum, das geknechtet war. Ich habe mich gefühlt wie ein verdammter Priester, weil ich einfach gedacht habe, so wie ich lebe als Priester, so möchte ich nicht vor das Gericht kommen. Und Don Minutella in seinen Katechesen hat in mir all das wachgerufen, hat in mir das Priestertum erneuert, hat mich irgendwo erinnert an das, was ich eigentlich versprochen habe, auch in der Weihe an die heiligen Engel, dass ich immer ganz wahr und ganz klar meinem Gewissen folgen muss. Und so habe ich mich dann durchgerungen und wollte dann einen Kontakt mit Don Minutella habe ich zigmal angerufen, nie ist es gelungen. Dann schließlich habe ich über Südamerika, über diese Rechtsanwältin sie hat mir eine Nummer gegeben von einem Alex irgendwo in der Nähe von Piccola Nazareth. Und dieser hat mir immer versprochen, dass er mich in Verbindung bringt mit dem Don Minutella. Das ist also 2 Jahre gegangen, aber schließlich ist alles schief gegangen, bis ich irgendwo einmal auf die Nummer von der, irgendjemand hat mir die Nummer von der Nicoletta vermittelt und die Nicoletta hat in kurzer Zeit hat mir diese Verbindung mit Don Minutella hergestellt und so habe ich dann in ihm gesehen, ich habe ihn dann erlebt, immer tiefer erlebt und gesehen, dass er als Priester wirklich an der Front steht und ich muss dazu sagen, dass ich für die Tatsache, dass ich den Heiligen Engel geweiht bin, mit dem Heiligen Engel verbunden bin, auch eine exorzistische Ausbildung habe schon von den Heiligen Engel her. Dazu habe ich noch eine exorzistische weitere Ausbildung gehabt, gehört zu dem internationalen Exorzistenkreis und habe gesehen, dass der Don Minutella, er braucht Hilfe. Wir haben in unserer Spiritualität, dass man, wenn ein besonderer pastoreller Notfall ist, dass man dann auch eine zweite heilige Messe feiern darf. Ich habe dann für mich innerlich, ich habe gebetet und habe innerlich von der Mutter Gottes, innerlich immer mehr die innere, ich will nicht sagen Eingabung, aber das innere Drängen gehabt, ich muss für den Don Minutella eine zweite heilige Messe feiern, als Sühnemesse, als seine Unterstützung. Und da habe ich begonnen, jeden Tag dann die heilige Messe zu feiern und habe begonnen, auch in Livestream jeden Morgen um 4 Uhr mit dem Rosenkranz zu beginnen und dann die heilige Messe zu feiern von 4 bis 6 Uhr in der Früh schon und habe dann in Livestream schon immer auch mit einer nicht öffentlich, sondern mit den erwählten Schar in Verein St. Raphael haben wir dann schon mit musikalischer Begleitung jeden Morgen seit 2 Jahren die heilige Messe per Livestream übertragen und dort habe ich immer schon von der Wahrheit gesprochen, dass Bergoglio, dass er der falsche Papst ist und dass er nicht Papst ist und dass alles, was eben klar geworden ist, habe ich dort öffentlich gesagt. Ich wurde dann angezeigt in der Diözese, sodass mir dann angedroht wurde, wenn ich bis zum 1. Juni mich nicht entscheide, dann werde ich von allen Ämtern enthoben und werde dann exkommuniziert. So habe ich mich natürlich nicht entschieden. Bin seit dem 1. Juni dann von allen Priesterämtern befreit worden, mit der Exkommunikation Lade Sentenze und mit der Androhung, wenn ich mich bis zum 31. Juli nicht bekehre, dann bin ich aus dem 1. August, bin ich also in den Laienstand versetzt. Es wird ein Verfahren eingeleitet, dass ich automatisch in den Laienstand versetzt bin. Für mich war das eine Ehre. Also für mich war das klar, dass wenn das so ist, dass es gar keine Frage ist, dass ich diesen Weg gehen muss. Und dazu habe ich immer mehr die Überzeugung bekommen, dass wirklich auch alle, die versucht haben, zur Überzeugung zu bringen, dass Papst Benedikt der richtige Papst ist, dass alle irgendwo Ja und Nein gesagt hat, aber niemand hat so diese Klarheit gehabt wie Don Minutella. So ist mir klar geworden, Don Minutella ist von Gott dieses Charisma, das gerufen ist, diesen Piccolo-Rest, diesen kleinen Rest wirklich zu führen. Nicht nur, weil er sich zu dieser Wahrheit bekennt, sondern weil er auch in den Wahrheiten, in der Verkündigung der Wahrheiten des Glaubens so überzeugend ist, dass ich also keinen Professor kenne, den ich jemals gehabt habe in 3, 4 verschiedenen Universitäten, der so klar und eindeutig diese Wahrheit des katholischen Glaubens auch zu vermitteln vermag. Das hat mich so begeistert und so überzeugt, dass ich gewusst habe, das ist der Weg. Und was ich dann tun kann, auch für diesen Piccolo-Rest, das tue ich allein schon aus Dankbarkeit, dass mir das Priestertum gerettet wurde und aus Dankbarkeit für das, was ich jetzt in dieser Klarheit, auch innerliche Entschiedenheit erleben und wie ich das Priestertum neu erleben darf, wie noch nie in meinem Leben. Ich habe dann 40 Jahre immer die moderne Messe gefeiert und seit dem 24. März habe ich mich entschieden, die tridentische Messe zu feiern und bin sehr glücklich, dass das jetzt so möglich ist und dass wir auch jetzt hier in dieser Gruppe unter uns eine solche auch priesterliche Einheit erleben dürfen, wie ich es bisher in meinem Leben, in diesen 40 Jahren Priestertums, noch nicht erlebt habe. Also zu meinem 40-jährigen Priesterjubiläum bin ich als Gruß von meinem Bischof, bin ich also von den Priesterämtern enthoben worden, bin also exkommuniziert, lade sententia und ab dem 1. August also in den Laienstand versetzt. Ich glaube, das Geschenk zu meinem 40-jährigen Priesterjubiläum ist, dass es mir auf der einen Seite genommen wurde, aber auf der anderen Seite wieder so gegeben wurde, wie ich es mir hatte, wirklich von Anfang an in meinen Träumen, wie ich es so wirklich so erlebt habe und jetzt Wirklichkeit wird. Dafür kann ich Gott nur von Herzen danken. Scusate se ho parlato tanto in tedesco.
Excuse me for speaking so much in German, but now I want to explain a little bit in Italian. I have to say that I am 16 times I've been given a penalty, how do you say, criminally, because never have I been silent when I had something to say. 16 times. 37 times a car accident. Cars all broken. However, I'm still alive. And as a priest of the work of angels, of course, I also trained a little bit as an exorcist. Afterwards, I also trained with Father Amorth as an exorcist. However, this work was without support. A lot of work, however, I was not the only exorcist. As a parish priest, it is difficult because when there are cases like this, you can't accompany them as a parish priest. Just beside, not directly. Then it started in the year 2015. When I celebrated the Holy Mass like that in union with Pope Francis and also with Pope Emeritus Benedict. But I felt bad. I felt that it wasn't right. And inwardly, I couldn't anymore. And by chance, on YouTube, I saw a lecture, a catechesis of Father Minutella, and I thought, how come he has the same thing? He was dismissed from the parish. I started to hear him, to listen to him, and inwardly, I felt my faith was awakening, and also how to say the word. As a priest, living as a priest, even as a priest, understood that I was a candidate for hell as a priest, because I lived the priesthood like everybody else. And inwardly, always I thought, I can't die like this as a priest. I can't die in this state. And he, in his catechesis, woke me up. And I understood that I can really, even without being afraid of any excommunication, I can really live, and I have to live what I feel inside as a priest. I started like that, and after that I was dismissed from the parish. And then I started celebrating a live stream Mass at 4 a.m. for 2 years already, every day at 4 a.m., 2 hours every day. And then inwardly, the more I followed him, the more I was enthused with him, as he, with this clarity, with this truth, and also with this enthusiasm, as he talks about the faith, the doctrine of the Church. And then I wanted a contact. I couldn't get one. 2 years I tried to get a contact. I always phoned, never succeeded. And then came, or I heard, this Stefania from Colombia. and she wrote me, if you want to contact with Father Minutella, I have a point of reference, this Alex. I phoned this Alex. He always promised to put me in contact with Father Minutella, but he couldn't. And then I said, what do I do? What do I do? And there were benefactors who said, we'll pay you a trip to Father Minutella because you have to meet Father Minutella. I wasn't able to. Finally, I don't know how it was possible. I had a contact with Nicoletta. Nicoletta immediately said, how come you can't get in contact with Father Minutella? Immediately it was possible, and within a short time, there was a first meeting with him, and then it was clear for me, and already before, 2 years before, inwardly, even as an exorcist, I understood that he is very important for the church, for the future. What he says, he is very important for the future, and inwardly Our Lady told me, because in our spirituality there is a possibility, if there is a pastoral need, to celebrate a second Mass as a Mass of reparation. And he didn't know anything. For me, inwardly, already 2 years before I met him, I started to celebrate a Mass in reparation every day as a support for him. And while I was celebrating the Holy Mass, I felt conflicted when he said, how come? We have to look for others also. I look for people who pray for him, who offer themselves, who make sacrifices, who make consecrations and reparations for him. He didn't know anything, but I inwardly understood, and I also read some mysticism, that this final struggle against this false prophet, publicly, there remains only one representative who publicly is against this false prophet, and I understood that this could only be Father Minutella. And there was another problem, and that was that I had never celebrated Holy Mass in the Tridentine Rite. And then, even without talking to him, however, our faithful who were attending Mass asked, why don't you start celebrating the traditional Holy Mass? And I said, I have to wait one more day. And on the 24th of March, which was the feast of Gabriel the Archangel, for me it was clear that I had to start celebrating the Tridentine Holy Mass. And then, after celebrating the new Mass for 40 years, I stopped and never celebrated the new Mass again. And from the 24th on, it was clear that the Tridentine Mass is a grace that cannot be compared to anything. Then I also started, even in public, to look for priests and convince them. It was impossible. Some started to talk, to understand, but no one had the courage to tell the truth in public. And one bishop called because his faithful who attend Mass came to us in our group and said, we will no longer go to Mass in communion with Bergoglio. We will only go to Mass celebrated with Pope Benedict. So the bishop called me and said, how come you take all my faithful? I replied, Your Excellency, this would be an opportunity for you and for the whole little remnant if you have the courage to say that Pope Benedict is still our Pope, the whole little remnant will have a bishop, even publicly, and there will be at least one who is with us. And the bishop said, no, this in confession. We can't say publicly. It's true, he said. It's true. The Pope is Benedict. Even Father Minutella says it's true. However, I can't say this in public because the shame is too great if I confess this. But he said, let's stay in touch. Come and we'll talk about it. That is to say, hope exists. However, to end, I wanted to say that for me, it is clear that now, with all the groups that seek, that recognize Pope Benedict in what form, for me it is clear that if they do not follow Minutella, his charism, certainly they are not reliable. I am very grateful to have this contact, to be here in Little Nazareth. And I would also like to say to you that here you don't know what you have, that you have something great in Father Minutella. What a grace you have that you have Father Minutella in Palermo. And this union among us priests. I have been in so many groups of priests, so many movements. However, never have I experienced a fraternal union like us now, like in these few days. Praise be Jesus Christ, always be praised. We are waiting for the priests of Latin America. We are waiting for you. Buenos Aires, Carmen.
Carmen.
Sí, acá, padre. Ya esperaba que... Bueno. Sí. Por favor. Sí, padre. ¿Me escucha, padre?
Sí, sí.
El padre ha dicho que el padre pertenece a la obra de los ángeles. Se tiene que estar buscando. El padre ha dicho que pertenece a la obra y que ha conocido a la Madre Gabriela, que es la fundadora de la obra de los ángeles, que tuvo muchísimos problemas y lo combatieron mucho, pero logró ser ordenado sacerdote el 6 de julio de 1982 por nada menos que el Papa Juan Pablo II en San Pedro. También él dice que ha tenido una vida con muchísimas pruebas, que ha sido perseguido penalmente 16 veces, que tuvo 37 accidentes de automóvil y a pesar de todo eso, él logró superarlo y llegó a ordenarse como sacerdote. Él en la obra de los Santos Ángeles se formó como exorcista y también lo tuvo como maestro a don Gabriel Amor. A pesar de ello, se sintió muy solo porque, siendo párroco, no podía atender la parroquia en sí y además la labor de exorcista. Más o menos por 2015, él celebraba con el Papa Francisco y diciendo que también con el Papa emérito Benedicto XVI. pero confiesa que se sentía muy mal interiormente. No podía estar hasta que por YouTube vio a una conferencia del padre Don Minutela y eso le resultó una fortaleza muy grande. Al escucharlo sentía que despertaba y que recobraba el sentido de su vivir y de su función de sacerdote. Se daba cuenta que como sacerdote, como muchos otros, estaba en un camino perdido y que era un candidato para el infierno. Entonces tomó la decisión de que no podía morir en ese estado y continuó escuchando las catequesis del padre Don Minutela, que le fueron quitando el miedo y comenzó a sentirse mejor, y luego, a raíz de este cambio en su modo de expresarse, de vivir, tuvo problemas con la parroquia y fue expulsado. Entonces empezó a dar misa a las 4 de la mañana y también a hacer 2 horas de oración, porque estaba muy entusiasmado con la claridad, la verdad y el entusiasmo que le transmitían estas catequesis que daba el padre Minutela. Entonces él trató de ponerse en contacto con el padre Minutela, pero no lo lograba. Luego, a través de Estefanía Costa, le prometió un contacto que al final no lo pudo realizar. Otro benefactor le prometió que le iba a conceder un viaje que tampoco resultó, hasta que finalmente pudo conectarse con Nicoleta, que le dijo que estaba muy asombrada de que no pudiera comunicarse con el padre. Enseguida le dio la oportunidad de hablar con él. También a partir de ahí está en contacto con el padre Minutela. También él quiere decir que desde 2 años atrás resulta que él, como exorcista, ha percibido la realidad de que la obra del padre Minutela es importante para el futuro de la iglesia. La Virgen le ha hecho sentir que debía hacer misa de reparación, y desde hace 2 años está haciendo misa de reparación y de pedido de apoyo al padre Minutela. También ha podido hacer que varios grupos oren por él para su sostenimiento espiritual. Encontré, dice este padre, muchas personas que quisieron rezar para sostener al padre, porque esta lucha final con el falso profeta es muy grave, y es el único sacerdote que públicamente confiesa que la iglesia está en una falsedad y que el verdadero papa es Benedicto XVI. Otro problema que tenía este sacerdote es que no había celebrado nunca el rito tridentino, porque siempre había celebrado Novus Ordo, pero sus propios fieles le pidieron que celebrara el rito tridentino, y él fijó la fecha del 24 de marzo, la fiesta de San Gabriel, y ese día celebra la misa tridentina, que considera una gracia que no se puede desperdiciar. También le sucedió que empezaron a aparecer fieles en su misa, y entonces el obispo lo llamó por teléfono diciéndole a qué se debía que le quitara a los fieles, y se iban todos con él. Él le dijo al obispo que él no les sacaba a los fieles, sino que lo que él debía hacer era reconocer que Benedicto XVI es el verdadero papa y que entonces todos iban a poder estar juntos. Este obispo, que él no nombra, le manifestó que si bien él participaba de esta manera de ver las cosas, solamente podía decirlo en el nivel, en la dimensión de la confesión, en el confesional. Porque si bien eso es verdad, es una vergüenza muy grande y no se puede decir en público. El obispo, ese obispo que habló con él, le dijo que después iban a seguir conversando, por lo que él opina que hay una esperanza para que este obispo adopte la posición correcta. Hay muchos grupos que con lengua alemana siguen a esta manera de ver, de considerar a Benedicto XVI como verdadero papa. Nosotros, dice él, debemos confiar, y él está muy confiado en la guía que da con toda claridad y valentía el padre Minutela, y está muy agradecido de haber llegado hasta aquí, porque dice que el padre Minutela logrado que él tenga una experiencia de confraternidad con otros sacerdotes como nunca la había tenido en su vida. Está bien, padre.
Sí, gracias.
Thank you.
Por los queridos sacerdotes de lengua española.
A message for the dear Spanish-speaking priests. Carmen, which you can translate. Dear priests of Latin America,
Queridos sacerdotes de América Latina,
a voi giunge questa sera dalla Sicilia
to you comes this evening from Sicily,
hoy, esta tarde, desde Sicilia,
da parte di questo gruppo di sacerdoti
from this group of priests,
in comunione con Papa Benedetto XVI,
in communion with Pope Benedict XVI,
il più cordiale e fraterno, amichevole abbraccio nel Signore.
the most cordial and fraternal, friendly embrace of the Lord.
Io ho avuto modo di conoscere diversi di voi nei miei viaggi.
he podido
I have had the opportunity to get to know several of you in my travels.
Penso in Colombia, in Argentina, in Uruguay, in Paraguay.
I think in Colombia, in Argentina, in Uruguay, and Paraguay.
E anche volentieri tornerò in Messico e di nuovo in Argentina.
And also willingly, I will return to Mexico and again to Argentina.
Solo devo mettervi in guardia da una persecuzione diffamatoria nei miei confronti.
Only, I have to warn you about a slanderous persecution of me.
C'è una persona in Italia
There is a person in Italy
che parla correntemente la lingua spagnola,
que habla muy bien
fluent in Spanish,
che contatta voi sacerdoti dell'America Latina contro
who contacts you priests in Latin America.
sacerdotes de América Latina.
il suo scopo è quello di offendermi e gettare il sospetto su di me.
And his purpose is to offend me and cast suspicion on me.
È collaborato da un paio di persone, in particolare dall'Uruguay e dal Messico.
He is in collaboration with a couple of people,
Como en México y en
particularly from Uruguay and
Noi
Mexico.
stiamo andando avanti per proclamare la verità.
But we are going forward to proclaim the truth.
para proclamar la verdad.
A tutti i sacerdoti di lingua spagnola in America Latina,
To all Spanish-speaking priests in Latin America,
come anche agli altri sacerdoti, raccomando di contattare Padre 𝐤𝐵𝐻.
as well as to other priests, I recommend contacting Father 𝐤𝐵𝐻.
Daremo adesso il numero telefonico con cui poterlo
Daremos
contattare.
para que no les pase lo que
We will now provide the phone number by which you can contact him.
E speriamo che con l'aiuto della Santa Vergine sempre più ci uniamo tra di noi.
And we hope that with the help of the Blessed Virgin, more and more we will unite with each other.
podamos unirnos entre nosotros.
Le distanze in America Latina non sono come in Europa.
The distances in Latin America are not like in Europe.
Sono molto più grandi, più ampie.
Son mucho más amplias.
They are much larger,
Se
wider.
i padri dalla Germania, dall'Austria, dalla Repubblica Ceca sono potuti venire facilmente, è più difficile questo in America Latina.
If the fathers from Germany and Austria, from the Czech Republic, could come easily, this is more difficult in Latin America.
En América Latina todo es más difícil.
Però le vie di Dio sono infinite.
But God's ways are infinite.
Son infinitos.
Vi do appuntamento sacerdoti in unione con Papa Benedetto XVI dell'America Latina.
I'm giving you a task, priests of Latin America, in union with Pope Benedict XVI.
Appuntamento sacerdoti dell'America Latina in unione con Papa Benedetto.
Les doy una cita a los padres de América Latina en unión con Benedicto XVI
per un raduno sacerdotale
for a priestly
hagamos una
gathering
reunión de sacerdotes
da tutta l'America Latina
from all over Latin America
entro la fine di questo anno 2022, a Dio piacendo.
by the end of this year, 2020, God willing.
antes de que finalice este año. Si Dios
Il
quiere.
posto, la città dove faremo l'incontro
The place, the city where we will have the gathering
è Medellín, in Colombia.
is Medellín, Colombia.
Medellín, en Colombia.
Vi aspettiamo.
We are waiting for you.
Esperamos.
Muchas gracias, Carmen, per l'ottima traduzione.
Thank you very much, Carmen, for the great translation.
Un piacere, un onore.
Ecco, sempre tanta benedizione, il tuo lavoro è molto prezioso.
Carmen,
Un
always
saluto
such a
da parte di
blessing.
tutti
Your work
voi
is very
che tutto il
valuable.
resto italiano.
A greeting from all of us here at the Little Italian Remnant. Thank you for the work you do.
E verrà messo adesso in sovrimpressione il numero telefonico.
Now we will put on the screen the telephone number to contact priests. Only priests, mind you. Don't be smart lay people, since Father Gebhardt is an exorcist. Then only priests can use this number that now appears on the screen. We now conclude by invoking, at the end of this historic meeting. I think you will all have agreed now that the title was apt, Historic Meeting. From where they thought it was all over, instead it all goes on. And it goes on with great strength because with us is the Blessed Virgin. And we know that her Immaculate Heart will triumph. We live by this expectation. Perhaps we will see it with our own eyes. Certainly one message that we are sending to Bergoglio, false pope, and the whole Masonic Satanist lodge in the Vatican is that we have opened eyes all over the world. We are not a few. The Church will not end. Long live Pope Benedict.
Adesso diamo la Santa Benedizione dopo aver insieme cantato la Salve Regina.
Now let us give the holy blessing after singing the Salve Regina together.
Salve Dominus vobiscum. Benedicat vos omnipotens Deus, Pater et Filius et Spiritus Sanctus. Diceva Don Bosco, se Dio è con noi,
Don Bosco said,
siamo la maggioranza.
if God is with us, we are the majority. God is with us. We are the majority. The enemy is more than warned. Praise be Jesus Christ.
shall